The #1 killer of firefighters may not be what you think. It's heart attacks. And when you're more than 100 feet off the ground, staring down, well, it's not hard to see why. You know, they don't call it the greatest show on earth for nothing, and people driving on the downtown connector, well, they got a bit of a show today when a zebra escaped from the Barnum & Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus. You see how close I'm walking to these cars right here? I could literally reach out and touch them if I wanted to. This is how close children have to walk to traffic every day to get to school. The snow is really coming down hard here right now. I'd say we easily, check this out, had two inches or plus in the past couple hours. And it's this stuff right here that's really making it dangerous for drivers on the roads who are headed to the stores today. Apartments on fire. Gunshots breaking through the violent shouts as hundreds of residents take to the streets, turning on anyone who isn't them. All of this anger after Richmond County deputies shot and killed a man in the Cherry Tree Crossing community. It began Sunday afternoon when deputies stopped an SUV driven by Justin Elmore, a suspected drug dealer in the area. The sheriff's office says Elmore tried to run the deputies over, so they opened fire, shooting him in the head.
They opened fire on him for no reason, you know what I'm saying? For nothing at all, just shot him up.
Outraged residents said the officers were reckless. When deputies opened fire on Elmore, stray bullets flew through this window and shot out right here, just missing the family's child.
A bullet shot past my little boy here about 3 inches. I'm gonna bust his head open. His brains would have been in my hand.
As night fell and frustrations grew, a near riot broke out in the community. Fires were set, and when help arrived, the mob chased them away with rocks and flaming bottles. Backup arrived quickly to prepare for a clash. Armed with defense sticks, body armor, and force in numbers, officers gave the mob one option: go home or be arrested.
Go inside your residence and stay inside. You are now under curfew rules.
The large crowd slowly retreated as riot police moved in. Officers told me they plan to stay here throughout the night and keep patrolling so they can maintain a strong police presence. Right now, a curfew is in effect, and officers are telling all residents to stay indoors for their safety and well-being. At Cherry Tree Crossing, Steve Kuzj, NBC Augusta, 26 News. Right, Kim, we are getting our first look tonight at this map of Marietta. It dates back to 1956, and I want you to see something. Right here is where I'm standing, and right here is also where this map says there is some mines in the area. Of course, if you take a look behind me, this is also where the giant sinkhole was before they filled it in. So we went to the city of Marietta today and asked the officials tough questions about why they would allow people to build on property that could be unsafe. This 40-foot wide sinkhole was just filled 2 stories deep with rock and dirt from about 180 truckloads. Donna Pearson didn't realize there was a problem with her community's land until the massive crater nearly swallowed her neighbor's home.
Certainly the last thing that you would expect to find in your neighborhood, because you'd think the city, when they get ready to make their grants for building, that they would certainly check on that kind of information.
Mine symbols would...
We went to the city to ask them tough questions about why they didn't know about a mine in their own backyard. Isn't it kind of the city's responsibility to have information like this?
Well, the information that we have usually comes from the developer and the attorneys that are working on the property and the surveys that are being done on the property. We don't have records of subsurface conditions from 100 years ago on everything in the city. I mean, that just doesn't exist.
Marietta Department of Public Works told us it is the building company's responsibility to hire an engineer to check the land for things like mines. We tried to reach the home builder, Black & David Properties, by phone and by checking out their listed addresses, but we couldn't find them. The Department of Public Works says the company probably went out of business. As for the families living in the Charlton Chase community, city officials admit more homes could be at risk. It mentions some of these shafts go hundreds of feet under the ground and looks like they stretch for, 100+ feet in either direction.
Right.
So, I mean, this could be running under several homes.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
For a lot more people. Steve Kuzj of affiliate WGCL in Atlanta explains why.
The warm trickle of water running through fingers is one of those simple pleasures you probably never think about. Matthew Scott now enjoys every hand wash, every stroke of a marker, and every other simple task, because for 11 years, he was missing a hand. He lost it in an accident with an M80 firecracker.
All I could do was, after it ignited, was to drop my hand and turn my body away from my friend before it exploded.
Matthew was rushed to the hospital with his hand literally blown to pieces. He thought the accident would end his career and the chance for a good life. Years ago, Matthew underwent a groundbreaking procedure that replaced his hand with one from a deceased donor. Take a look here. Can you tell which hand is the replacement?
The transplanted hand is my left hand, and as we see, if we put them side by side, the left hand is a little smaller than my right. It replaced what I lost through my own stupidity.
Emory University Hospital is already consulting with potential patients about procedures similar to Matthew's. Emory doctors say Atlanta will soon be recognized around the world for hand transplants. Matthew just hopes the program will allow many more people to experience the joy his new hand has put back in his life.
Hold the hands of both my children when they were growing up, and, to hug people like this, it was all those things that I never even considered before that suddenly were available to me that made it a wonderful, wonderful gift.
Now, Emory University Hospital says they expect to start performing these type of hand transplants on patients by the summer. So a really neat little procedure, very, very rare.
That's incredible. When he held him up, we really can't tell. Only down here on the wrist.
And looking at it, even though, hand to hand, right next to the other, you really couldn't tell unless you were, looking very, very closely at it. So.
And I was amazed at how much he can actually use it and the range of motion.
Incredible.
They say it's got about 55% of the power of his good real hand. So it's a huge advancements over past prosthetics.
Yeah, right here at Emory. All right, Steve, thank you.
Thanks.